604 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, JP producing. Starting you off at 72 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge, getting you ready for a busy Tuesday show. We've got a lot of ground to cover this morning. We're going to talk with, we got a lot of politics to talk today. We're going to talk with Jeff Crouere about the New Orleans mayor's race. Senator Cassidy's coming by in the 8 o'clock hour, and one question it feels like an obvious question, but maybe it's not. Why does he want reelection at this point? We'll talk about that with the senator at 8:15. We got Metro Councilman Dwight Hudson coming our way. We got Will Green lined up, and Sigga Niccolazzi has a new season of her podcast. She's got a true crime podcast that focused on the mafia last season. This season focused on terror. So, looking forward to that. But we start off, as we do every morning, with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Louisiana prison officials say initial media reports that 19 inmates being held in Angola for federal immigration officials were engaged in a hunger strike the reports were incorrect. But they did say Monday 3 of the people being held, quote, continue to refuse their meals. The Department of Public Safety and Corrections also said that there were, quote, no issues surrounding plumbing. It noted an inmate had intentionally flooded his cell Sunday, but said the problem was remedied by unclogging a pipe.
Number 4.
West Baton Rouge Parish Detention Center announced a new warden on Monday afternoon. Sheriff Jeff Bergeron announced Trevor McDonald as the new warden after the previous warden retired in early September in the wake of 4 inmates dying in the past year from drug-related reasons.
Number 3.
Atmos Clear Baton Rouge, or BR, has selected ExxonMobil to provide carbon transportation and storage services for its biomass energy with carbon capture project at the Port of Greater Baton Rouge. The facility will generate clean energy from biomass while capturing and storing up to 680,000 metric tons of biogenic CO2 annually, with the potential for more volume.
Number 2.
A month after an explosion at Smitty's Supply, people who live and work in the area say cleanup is nowhere near complete, and there's no guarantee that it isn't getting worse. We posted a handful of pics on our Facebook page on Friday from a few miles downriver from Smitty's, and the sheen on top of the water is still very visible, as are the thick black samples being pulled from the water.
Number 1.
Yep, Gabrielle's still out there as a full-force hurricane. It has upgraded to a major hurricane. There are 2 other disturbances in the Atlantic as well. We'll talk about those other disturbances later on in the hour. As for Gabrielle, maximum sustained winds have increased a good bit to 140 miles per hour. That being said, though, I mean, we've got an eye on it because it's a hurricane during hurricane season, but the truth of the matter is Gabrielle's not going to bother anybody.
Well, it looks like Jimmy Kimmel's time in the penalty box is over. His show will be back on air tonight.
What?
Yeah.
I thought Donald Trump had him canceled.
Yeah, well, not for long.
I mean, why? And the
That's not for
president's
long.
power of TV cancellation's really, really overhyped.
I'm telling you.
I thought the president had him canceled.
You got Disney involved, though.
That's-
Disney's like, no, we overrule the
Oh,
president.
that's true.
We own everything.
Right. You're just the president of the United
That's
States.
right.
We're Disney.
We're
so,
Disney. The big mouse.
yeah. All right.
Oh, man, yeah. So back on air tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, this is
You
some
going to
good-
watch? Yeah, me neither.
No. Depends on who the musical
I didn't,
guest
even
is,
need,
right?
I didn't even need to wait for an answer.
Who's
No,
even-
it doesn't even depend on the musical guest. No,
I can't wait to see how he tries to clear things up. Maybe he tries, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just
He'll probably make a self-deprecating joke about it, but I mean, yeah, I don't even care who the musical guest is. I've got their music on my phone.
That's
I'm going to wait 14 hours to hear the White Stripes?
Come on, man. You know they're not together anymore.
Oh, they're not?
No.
Okay. I'm going to wait 14 hours to hear Ed Sheeran.
Okay, that may be.
Yeah.
That may be factual.
I'm just trying to stay hip, JP.
That's it, man.
That's
That's
all.
it. That's all we're trying to do. Hey, you know what's hip?
What?
Leaving things better than the way you found them.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Cade Genovese?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Southeastern's equipment manager went viral over the last few days after posting before and after pictures of the classy way the Lions left the visiting locker room in Tiger Stadium.
I retweeted this one last night, actually. This
did?
is so cool. Like, okay,
Nice.
I know monetarily a lot of people don't like playing in state schools. I know that when it comes to the college football season, nobody likes a 56-10 final score. Like, I get all the reasons to hate on playing the little guy, but the way that he posted, how did the post read? Something like, thanks for a dream come true? Or the memory of a lifetime.
Memory of a lifetime.
Thanks for the memory of a lifetime. If we close the book on our romanticism in sports, we close the book on there's a lot of the reasons why we watch sports. That was really, really cool. And for those that don't know, the head equipment manager for Southeastern posted a before and after picture of the visiting locker room at LSU, and the only difference was a pile of towels left in the middle of the floor, like ready to be washed. Left a pile of towels like they're ready to be washed, like checking out of an Airbnb. You know, we gathered up all our linens and put them in one spot so you can easily wash them. That was literally the only thing amiss in the whole picture. But it was just the memory of a lifetime part is what sticks with me.
Yeah,
and that's the part that gets overlooked. Whether you're the equipment manager or the kid from Edna Carr who gets to get loose for a touchdown in the stadium that he dreamt of playing in his entire childhood, I don't know. That was really cool. I appreciated that.
Yes, indeed. Very much a class act. Well, I don't know what you were expecting for the start of LSU Ole Miss week, but learning that Whit Weeks is dating Lane Kiffin's daughter was not on my radar.
No.
So
we all learned that yesterday.
Yeah. And everything coming in the form of tweets, man. It's what do you call them now? Now that's X.
I don't know. There's still
X
tweets, and it's still Twitter.
Still oh.
I refuse to call it X. I don't care how long it's named X. I refuse. It's Twitter, and they are tweets and retweets.
Yeah. So talk about
he's
a family
dating Lane
divide.
Kiffin's daughter. I'm trying to figure out who has the advantage here. Playing this through the lens of looking forward to the game this weekend.
Oh man, let's see.
I mean, I was
looking into some stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, while Witt made things official on Instagram, the LSU linebacker is still nowhere to be found on Landry's social page.
Really now? Oh,
what's going on here?
Well, maybe
but
they
the
don't
pictures are here.
Maybe they don't have internet in Oxford.
Oh, that's
like it got everywhere, but Daddy doesn't know yet. Is that possible?
What a way to find out, though.
Yeah.
As a dad, what?
Yeah.
Just scrolling through.
It's gonna make for an awkward game.
A little bit.
I hope. Can we add storylines to this game?
Ooh.
I'm more than happy to.
Hey, in other news, speaking of social media, so according to TikTok, today is supposed to be the rapture.
You saw that?
Yeah. Jamie, my wife, told me
Dude,
about it
it's
last
everywhere.
night.
Everybody on TikTok. Well, I should say everybody, because I asked my wife last night. I was like, "Are you full of rapture talk right now?"
Oh my goodness.
So, but you're seeing it as well?
Yeah. My wife was the one who brought it up to me last night. I think it's funny.
Did they hammer down a time?
Oh man. Yeah. Is the show going to be over with before then?
Well, I know, because I didn't write an outside in.
Right.
And I figured I don't expect to be raptured, but I would lose enough of the audience to where it wouldn't matter.
Right.
Is that where we're at?
Man.
I saw one guy asking last night. Oh, by the way, ignore the fact that the Bible says no man knows the time or place, right?
You hit it. Literally, I was about to quote Matthew.
Yeah,
okay.
But
Matthew
we could,
24.
which is why we could have fun with it. There was one guy on TikTok last night saying, "How do we do this? Is it is the whole world at once, or does it hit time zones like Santa Claus?"
And it's hard not to make fun because you have quote unquote Christians around the world selling it. Literally, I'm watching it. They're selling everything. They're quitting their jobs. They're selling their cars, doing all these things. It's like,
why you need a car if you're going to float up into space?
Right. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
No man knows the time or hour, but someone on TikTok does. The Kuyons on TikTok are
Kuyons is the best way to describe them. Around the world. This is so much more than just a Cajun term now. We have worldwide Kuyons. Okay.
This is fun.
Two more that I've got from TikTok last night. First and foremost, anybody with a trumpet, you have a job to do today. Because right?
Girls,
We all want to hear the trumpets.
yes. Well,
Okay.
I got two in band that both play
Okay,
trumpets.
so they need to learn whatever.
Jamie's a former
whatever's
trumpet
played at the
player.
pearly gates, whatever tune. Let Saint Peter play neck. Secondly,
man.
yeah, I said that. Secondly, this is another woman last night said it would be a really good time to go buy a bunch of inflatable dolls and fill them with helium.
Jamie, get the girls ready.
Yeah,
Get the trumpets ready.
they need to learn. I don't know what kind of trumpet fan.
Seven Nation Army. That's what they're learning.
There it is. We're running long here. Coming up on 6:15 to Talk 107.3 FM. I tell you what, in order to stay on time, let's go ahead and break it now. We'll come back. Break it sports into two segments. That's coming up next. Hey, let's pivot here. We ran long there. I want 16 and 17. We'll talk Saints here.
All right. Yeah, my daughter Zoe was she was playing the Jaws theme the other night because she learned it, and I was like, oh,
I really hope you don't hear the Jaws theme as you're approaching the pearly
dun,
gates.
dun. I was like, oh.
So yesterday we were talking about where do we play back that Sigga Niccolazzi interview,
Hey, there
and
we
then
go.
Congressman Carter canceled on me.
Saw that. That works. Moon. You said 16 to 17, right?
How long do we have?
We got another minute.
One other minute before traffic.
Yep. It's slowly dwindling down. I got about 45 seconds.
Before traffic.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey. You're back.
Are we?
About to be.
Where's my phone? Oh, there it is. I told you 16 and 17 here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. .618 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We're breaking sports into two segments here because Coach Brian Kelly had a lot to say at his press conference yesterday. I wanted to give it a little more room to breathe, so we're pushing that back to our next segment. Very quickly, the Saints are trying to figure out what went wrong on Sunday. Short answer, spoiler alert here. Everything. That's the answer to that question. What went wrong Sunday? Everything. A 44-13 loss to Seattle. Choosing to kick field goals when you're down by 30. Everything went wrong. In the first quarter alone, there was a punt return for a touchdown and a block punt. To start off, just an absolute pummeling of the Saints. Coach Kellen Moore says his team just straight up failed to execute.
Really, we just got to execute at a higher level. We got to communicate. Say
Or at all.
simply, we're not all on the same page. And so that's when you're not on the same page, that's when a free runner shows up. And so, felt like, we have certainly a lot of control on that. Punt return, we have a couple shots down there. We don't get it, and then we lose leverage. And, they made a great play. They got ahead of the blocks and, got a big play out of it.
Saints are playing Buffalo this Sunday. The Bills are 3-0. I believe the spread opened at 15.5. Saints are getting 15.5. Might not even be enough. All right, we're at 6:20. Here comes the Fox Business Report. Good Lord. Is it not there? Is there? Turn my mic on. Is it not there?
Nope.
Interesting.
It is not.
All right, no worries. We'll just keep plugging right along. Oh well, then we'll just get to traffic early. Hit the brake.
I'll keep it in.
Yeah,
queue.
just hit the brake.
Let me keep it in queue. See what.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's on.
Well,
They're a couple minutes
can
late. Can I just pause?
pause it?
Okay. Weird. Yeah, that was really late. I had it in queue. It was like 40 minutes late. 40 seconds late.
That's funny. Your traffic's about what you'd expect for this time on a Tuesday morning. You got some congestion on I-12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish. It starts well before the Range Avenue off-ramp, but continues all the way up until past Range Avenue, and then picks back up again from O'Neill almost all the way to Sherwood. And then after that, it's smooth sailing all the way through the 10-12 merge. Meanwhile, 10 westbound's good coming in from Ascension Parish, 10 eastbound good coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish, and of course, I-110 is looking good as well. Surface streets, there's a report that there's some congestion or blockage North Harrells Ferry at Boulevard de Province. And that being said, though, it's from more than half an hour ago, so it's probably cleared by now. You're also looking out for an accident in the roadway, Florida Boulevard, right at North Flannery, and I'm looking at the map for that, and it's showing that there's no real delays as a result of it right now, but what there are, it's the accident's being worked, but there's no major backups coming in from Ascension Parish at this point that would jam you up. So that's really good traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. I'm trying to remember the Kelly cuts. 624 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So Mondays of a game week mean LSU head football coach Brian Kelly meets with the media to preview the next game and review the previous game. I tell you what, let's start off there. Coach Kelly, he started off by commenting on going back and watching the film of the Southeastern game.
Really pleased with the preparation of our football team. Going into a week where, you're off from the SEC, the things that are really important are how you prepare and playing to a standard. And I thought outside the first 3 and out, our offense was what it should be, and that was extremely efficient. I think we had 5 consecutive touchdowns leading into the second half. Our defense gave up, I think, 31 yards. So, what you're looking for is a dominating performance in the first half, and we certainly got that. So really pleased with the way our guys handled the game, the way they prepared, and then their performance certainly showed that.
With Southeastern in the rear view, that means your next, roughly 2 months? Well, yeah, next roughly 2 months are nothing but Southeastern Conference games.
Now we're into the SEC for, a couple of months. And so each and every week is a challenge. We know the opposition each week will, certainly test us. But now you lean on, your foundational principles. You lean on, what your process is and how you go to work every day, your habits, the way you prepare. And at times you're going to have to be leaning on guys that haven't started. This tests your depth within your program. It tests your roster. So all those things will come into play as we move into, the next couple of months.
Which is why it's good to get reps against a team like Southeastern. Because if you're playing nothing but the best of the best of the best teams every single week, you don't get live action for a lot of your guys. As we saw when the Louisiana Tech game was closer than maybe it should have been. Or you're not going to get, second, third string reps if you're playing, Clemson and Florida, they're not panning out for the rest of their schedule to be where everybody thought they would be. But nonetheless, they're top-notch battles. So getting in there and getting a cupcake, I don't want to call them a cupcake, but it's a cupcake game because they're playing out of the Southland Conference. Playing a lesser team affords you those opportunities. Meanwhile, time to focus on Ole Miss. Obviously, if you're talking Ole Miss, you're talking Lane Kiffin. If you're talking Lane Kiffin, you're talking offense.
Certainly an offense that has, again, put up, incredible numbers offensively. And they do it with 2 quarterbacks now, which is very difficult to do, but they've managed it quite well with Simmons and Chambliss. Both of them have been extremely effective and efficient through their first couple of games, throwing and running. So you've got a dual threat situation. I think Lacey is one of the best backs in the league. Harrison, an outstanding wide receiver. They've got some veteran offensive linemen. This is what they do, and it's very similar week in and week out, and certainly the balance that they have in running and throwing the football.
My favorite part about that is it's very similar week in and week out. Normally, if you think you've got a 2-quarterback system or if you're going to have to prepare for 2 different guys, that adds a whole lot to the equation when it comes to the variables that you have to get ready for. And to hear Coach Kelly say it's the same week in and week out, that gives me a little bit more positivity because the more something is the same, the less you have to prepare for it, or the more ready you will be once it gets here. Going along with those 2 quarterbacks, going along with Lane Kiffin, you're going to get tempo as well.
Yeah, their tempo is the best in the league. So, you have to get lined up. And in some instances, it keeps you from doing too much. You got to get your cleats in the ground. You've got to be fundamentally sound.
Kickoff this weekend, or kickoff this Saturday, I believe, 2:45, the actual scheduled time at Ole Miss. You'll hear the game on our sister station, Eagle 98.1, right down the hallway. Also, news from the Southeastern Conference yesterday was who was going to be the permanent opponents or the annual opponents. The LSU-Alabama rivalry will not be an annual rivalry anymore. The LSU-Auburn rivalry will not be an annual rivalry anymore. The LSU-Florida rivalry will not be an annual rivalry anymore. For the next 4 years, LSU will line up against Texas A&M, Arkansas, and Ole Miss every single year. They'll play the other teams in the conference every other year on a rotational basis. Coach Kelly was asked his thoughts on not squaring up against the Crimson Tide every year.
I'm fine with the way it's set up because within 4 years, you're going to play them home and away. So, yeah, you might not get them every year, but you're going to get them enough where it continues to take the big game approach to playing Alabama. So The way the schedule's set up, I feel really good about what it looks like and all the teams that we're going to get a chance to play in the SEC.
It's a matter of how they balance in those off years, though. Because if you get all the powerhouses of the SEC combined in 1 year, then that means the next year you'll get a cupcake schedule, which actually could set you up a little bit better to make the playoffs every other year. Because it's not about who you beat; it's about just your overall record. You don't get style points when you have the expanded playoff and you're in the Southeastern Conference. Hey, before we get you to our break, I want to remind you about the folks over at Neurojust. Neurojust.com is the website. They're going to be in studio tomorrow, and I'm very much looking forward to this conversation. We're going to talk with both a doctor and a patient, talk a little bit about the process, talk a little bit about their story, talk a little bit about what they've gotten out of it. Basically, if you suffer from anxiety and depression and the traditional treatments have not been effective for you or you're showing diminishing returns on those treatments, Neurojust specializes in something called transcranial magnetic stimulation. FDA approved, no side effects, 60 to 70% remission rates. It's really pretty amazing. So if you're treatment resistant already, check out neurojust.com. Good morning, Christy. Welcome in, sweetheart. I haven't even opened Facebook yet, so I don't even know if you're there. Hey, I want to talk about the Superdome deal, the mayor's race, and whatever he wants to cover. Did he have another topic? Did he have another topic? Oh, okay. I mean, if there's room on the back end, we'll talk about probably taking our foot off the gas pedal for hurricane season. Because it looks like these next two are nowhere near the landfall either. Who is this on weather? Is it Balin Roger? .636 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time for us to check in down in New Orleans. Time for us to welcome in our good buddy Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. How are you, man?
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Glad to have you on this morning. We got a couple good ones this morning. I want to push back on the mayor's race for just a minute to start off with the headline at NOLA.com. Saints Superdome lease deal stalled over Benson Tower and other real estate agreements with the state. This was so contentious the last time it was negotiated, and I'm curious as to whether or not we're going to run into a major problem here, or does this look like it's going to be worked out?
Yeah, so, I mean, we got high-stakes negotiations going on because, we're not going to be awarded the Super Bowl again until we have a lease agreement that extends beyond 2030. I mean, they're trying to bid for the Super Bowl in 2031, and that is after the lease agreement. So, right. I mean, it's a real shame that they didn't get all of this done, prior to when the bids were due for the 2031 Super Bowl. Because, if we're not able to make a late bid and get back into the running, which we could be, according to reports, we're not going to have another opportunity for the Super Bowl until 2038. Mm-hmm. And, that would be a gap of 13 years, which would really be a shame since I think everyone thinks that New Orleans did a real good job, hosting the Super Bowl this year. I mean, it was a real positive.
One of the best.
So,
ever.
yeah, I mean, there's so many facilities here. We're talking about, Brian, and we're talking about the Superdome. We're talking about Champion Square. I mean, we're talking about the Benson Tower. We're talking about the practice facility. I mean, so it's complex. That's for sure.
So the Superdome and Champion Square, I understand. Benson Tower didn't get added to this until after Katrina, correct?
Right.
Is there a way to decouple that? Is there a way to go backwards? Like, I mean, wouldn't someone else have to pick up the tab for Benson Tower?
Yeah, I mean, you would think that there would be a way to simplify this so that we can. How about we focus on the Superdome to get that done, and throw in Champion Square, and then push these other things to the back burner so that we can get back into the bid. Yeah, that would be the reasonable way to handle this. But it looks like it's all lumped together, and I don't know, Brian. It hasn't been. I mean, the last few years. I mean, ever since the death of Tom Benson, I mean, the Saints really haven't enjoyed much success on the field. The fan base certainly isn't as motivated, and to have this happen is just another issue, another problem. So I'm hoping they can get all of this done ASAP, because this is the best thing New Orleans does. It hosts these big events.
Yeah.
This is the best thing there is for the New Orleans economy. This is the New Orleans economy.
Right. And
I mean,
as the New Orleans economy goes, so goes the state's economy. Because, well, not completely, but I mean, we lose a big chunk statewide when we lose out on big ticket items in New Orleans. And we got to see that firsthand this year with the Super Bowl.
Exactly. And it was, a triumph and certainly something that everyone was proud of. I mean, I think the span was 12 years. So we had last hosted one, I believe, in 2013, and then we didn't get it again until 2025. I would hate to see us, wait 13 years to be able to even bid, because the other years, there are conflicts with Mardi Gras, date issues. So this 2031 was the perfect time for New Orleans to compete. So, it's just very unfortunate. This should have been done, Brian. This should have been handled
A long time ago. Absolutely. We're talking with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. I don't think anybody has a problem with Champion Square because it's part of the Superdome. I mean, it's part of the concourse, basically. It'd be like saying we've got a deal negotiated for the Superdome, but not for the parking lot next to it. I mean, it's because it's basically on top of it.
It's part of. I mean, it's part of the facility. Exactly. The practice facility is something in Jefferson Parish.
Right.
I mean, that's quite a distance away. Now, Benson Tower is adjacent, so it is close by. It is in that vicinity, but it's frustrating. It really is, because there's so many competitors out there. I mean, so many cities want to be part of this mix. And you got, Vegas and Nashville and other cities that are really surging and becoming, more competitors.
Right.
So
so I don't. I hate to say this part out loud, but you have a dog of a loser on the field too, I believe that plays into it. There's less of a want to pony up a longer term deal with a team that looks like garbage.
Right, and it could be that way for years. I mean, we could be in a long-term rebuilding phase. I mean,
well, okay, but do we have the? I don't want to say this out loud because I don't want to speak it into existence. But do we have the room for a long-term rebuilding phase on the field while we're squabbling and negotiating over the leasing of the property, and while the NFL on a day-to-day basis looks to become more global? It's only a matter of time before there's a franchise that is, there's a franchise in London. And I would hate to see like this perfect storm of lease agreements not being able to be settled on, people not showing up because the team is garbage, and the team being garbage, all combining together to invent the London Saints.
And the problem is, we've been down this road before. I mean, we've had peaks and valleys as far as the Saints go, and we've had some very down years.
But we've had
the Aints.
We've had protection under those years. And the reason we've had protection, the reason the Saints exist at all is because of oh my goodness gracious, I'm bricking on the two legislators. Russell Long and Hale Boggs were the two legislators that helped out hammer out the antitrust agreement with the NFL, and the NFL's attorney on that end was Pete Rozelle, who went on to become commissioner. So as long as Rozelle was anywhere near the NFL, we had protection. We were untouchable, and we meaning New Orleans, we were untouchable. But he's long gone. It's all about the mighty dollar. New Orleans is not a top 32 market in the country. No. I mean, they're well on the outside of that. And when you broaden that out to globally, they become dwarfed very quickly. So, and of course, the Superdome is a great facility, but it's a facility that was built in 1975. So, I mean, it's a 50-year-old facility. I mean, so you've got a combination of a lot of factors there, and the declining population in New Orleans, and the real need for New Orleans Saints to succeed is you got to pull in people from the region. You got to have a good product to have people drive in from long distances to come to the games. Right. Yeah, they've got to want to. So as long as they're doo-doo on the field, the rest of it's going to get jammed up. And I hate that it those negotiating the lease need to look bigger term. Like, you could have a loser this year. They're not always going to be a loser, right? But emotionally, that will play. There's no, as much as I'd like to see it separated, there's no way to separate it because you have humans involved. So there's going to be, emotional weight and human error factored into this.
And I mean, the consequences of this are huge. I mean, this is not just a city and a sports team. I mean, the Saints are part of the fabric of New Orleans. I mean,
1,000%.
I just saw a CNN documentary about, the comeback of New Orleans after Katrina. And a big part of it, of course, was the Saints winning the Super Bowl and the Saints being so successful, and that helped the city rebuild and helped people get their confidence back. I mean, it's just the way it's been since the day they started in 1967. The touchdown on the opening kickoff. I mean, it's just been a storybook relationship there between the city and this team, and they've got to get their act together, and both on the field and with this agreement. And I hope this can get somehow worked out, and we can get back into the mix, because that would be a real shame if we had to wait 7 more years to be eligible.
No, absolutely. We're talking with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics, getting a little update on New Orleans. The Superdome lease is a big one, but so is the New Orleans mayor's race, and that might play into this as well, because of the vision of the city from the CEO's perspective. So it's a weekly check until Election Day. What are we looking at?
Well, I'm moderating a debate on Saturday among the candidates, and there is a fourth contender that has edged his way in here, Republican Frank Janusa, who is a CPA. He is at 7% in some of the recent polls, and he got into the Conspicuum debate, and he's open to getting into some of these last big debates over the last few weeks. Every vote that he gets is really a vote coming out of the total for Helena Moreno. So you would think Oliver Thomas and Royce Duplessis would be supporting him. And I did find it interesting at the debate on Saturday that Royce Duplessis said one of the first hires he's going to make if he's elected mayor is to bring in Frank Janusa to help straighten the city books. And, obviously the city's got massive problems, $100 million deficit, infrastructure woes, all kinds of issues going on. And, having to bring in the Louisiana legislative auditor to get things straight. And, Janusa doesn't have a lot of money, doesn't have a lot of name recognition, but, he could be the key in forcing a runoff.
That being said, we've got, how much time left? We've got less than a month, right?
Yeah, it's October 11th, so we're now, 2.5 weeks away. And, 51% is where she was in the last poll. So, there is a solid chance that she's going to be able to prevent a runoff.
Now, if a runoff is pushed, is there enough sentiment between those other 3 candidates to be able to join forces, like some kind of New Orleans mayoral Voltron, to take her on as one combined force?
Well, possibly. If Duplessis says he's going to hire Frank Janusa, and then Oliver Thomas gets behind him, and then they all join forces. There's a chance. Mm-hmm. Ideologically, there's really very little difference between Moreno, Thomas, and Royce Duplessis. They're all left-wing Democrats.
Right.
Janusa is, of course, a more moderate to conservative Republican, but he's not among the top 3 right now. So among the top 3, they're all ideologically pretty close. So, it would still be a long shot. She'd still be the favorite if she was, comes in with 48, 49% or something like that and has to, make a runoff. She's got a lot of endorsements. She got Troy Carter. She's got a lot of the money. She's, well known through her years on TV and legislature and the council. So she's still the strong favorite right now. But the real question I'm watching is to see whether, we're going to have a runoff or not.
He is Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics, joins us about this time every week. We will check back in next week. Always appreciate it, man.
Okay, Brian. Thank you, man.
All right, thank you. We're coming up on 649 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. I need to remind you about the folks over at Vex European. You can check them out online at vexeuropean.com if you drive a European vehicle. I've been touting all the different makes of European vehicles at Vex Services. I do want to remind you one more time, though, that when the Jaguar dealership closed here in Baton Rouge, Jaguar owners are not left in the lurch. Vex European has a certified technician for Jaguar. They have a master level technician for Jaguar. So if you are just now getting around to the time where, well, it's time to get my car serviced and whatnot, not to worry. They've got you covered. Check them out online at vexeuropean.com. That's V as in Vinny, Vex European, or go see them. They're on Benefit Drive. That's kind of the backside of Industrialplex. They're more than happy to help. Get yourself a little Vexpertise over at vexeuropean.com. Quick break. When we come back, we're talking hurricanes. That's next on Talk 107.3. Gerald says one just has to see what New Orleans is really. Why would now think the mafia does not control New Orleans just as it always has, just a diff gang. Wait, what? You don't think the mafia still controls New Orleans, huh? It's not what it used to be. I will say that. Byron says, I hope the rapture does happen today. Maybe we won't need a new Mississippi River Bridge afterwards. I'm stealing that kind of. I'm rewriting that joke. No, I'm rewriting it for the next hour to say, even if the rapture happened today, 10 eastbound coming off the bridge would still be jammed up. What?
I don't know if you follow. Hold on, Allie Beth Stuckey. You ever heard her? She's going to be at LSU on the 27th, where the date Charlie Kirk was supposed to speak. It's going to be her and Governor Jeff Landry there. It's going to be good. She's
Who
awesome.
is she? Is she like?
She's conservative. She was actually one of Charlie's friends. I've been following her for a long time, but she's really good.
Okay.
I would recommend looking her up.
I'll see if I can't get her on
Allie
the show.
Beth Stuckey. Yeah, she's awesome.
I'll hit up Kate, see if she can't connect me.
Yeah, the 27th of October. Awesome. Yeah, she just posted that. I'm like, all right, sweet. Awesome. Her post reads, picking up the mic. No one could ever replace Charlie, but by God's grace, we'll carry his mission forward and ensure his legacy lives on. I'm honored to be joining Turning Point's college tour this fall. We're not going anywhere. Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Man, I'm definitely gonna try to do that.
6:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Coming up next hour, we got Metro Councilman Dwight Hudson at 7:15, Will Green from LABI at 7:35. Right now, though, I want to take you to a story that you heard from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network. Actually, before we do that, JP, can you run downstairs? I don't think I was able to successfully open the door. We'll get you the story from University of South Florida in just a second. Do need to remind you about the folks at 5 Star Printing and Signs. 271-4096 is their phone number. 271-4096. Take a look around your office. Get a little humdrum with the signage. Everything printed, whether you're talking about your business cards, your brochures, restaurant menus, whatever the case might be. If it's looking a little stale, if it's not that attention grabbing, is it time for a refresh? Is it time for an upgrade? My guy Danny and his team over at 5 Star Printing and Signs, they do impeccable work. They have quick turnaround. They are meticulous, and they will get you something that will stand out. Check them out online at printshop5.com or give them a call at 271-4096 for 5 Star Printing and Signs. The University of South Florida wants to look at overhauling kind of the way we categorize hurricanes. It's a 1 to 5 scale based solely on wind speed right now, but Jennifer Collins, a professor of geosciences at South Florida, says there are two other factors that need to be considered that might be even more important. Cut 10, please.
Our scale actually takes into account storm surge and rainfall. And this makes sense because only 10% of fatalities come from wind alone.
Which I tend to agree with. Storm surge is a big part of it. And we saw that with tomorrow being the anniversary of Rita. You had 10 to 18 foot storm surge, depending on where you were along the coast. If you are if you were on the Gulf Coast, you saw what storm surge did with Katrina. If you're in coastal Mississippi, absolutely. Collins says factoring in rainfall and storm surge would allow forecasters to give a much more accurate threat level for each storm. Cut 11.
We can have a category for each of those: wind, storm surge, and rainfall, and then we have an overall category.
The overall category would normally be the highest value of the three ratings, but Collins says in certain instances, a storm could be rated as a Cat 6.
You've got at least two of the hazard-based categories are a Cat 5, or two of the categories are a Cat 4, and one is a Cat 5.
So, and you heard this from Louisiana Radio Network at the bottom of the hour, Wilma back in 2005 would have been a category 6 because it was a category 4 for wind speed, category 5 for both rainfall and storm surge. Collins says she and her fellow researchers are planning on presenting their proposal to the National Hurricane Center in the very near future. Now, sadly, if you're talking about just straight up measuring a hurricane, this is probably a good idea. But the repercussions of this on other business fronts kind of give me pause. Because if there's a possibility of a 6 out there, what does that mean for our insurance? If there's the possibility of a 6 out there, what does that mean for people who, in the insurance companies who have to rely on the reinsurance? Is it going to change the game basically? Is it going to change the game retroactively? Are they going to go back and tally up all the storms previously and say, no, 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 it was actually a lot more dangerous here than it appeared because the numbers have now changed. You know what? I'm going to jot this question down for our insurance commissioner, Tim Temple, who's joining us on Thursday at 7:15. We'll talk with him about it then. Right now, though, we are coming up to the top of the hour. Time for us to check news, traffic, weather. Top stories and trending coming your way, and then Metro Councilman Dwight Hudson's in studio. That's next. What you say, boss? Going all right. Going all right. Oh. I'm cool either way. I'm cool either way. 7:15, yeah. Got a segment first. All right. Sorry, I was a total space cadet when I saw you at the Charlie Kirk thing. I was trying to line up as many people like as I could, and like Blake Miguez had just said hello, and I'm like, I feel like I'm ignoring the person I'm trying to video, but it's yeah. That was an amazing event, though. I did not expect to be that emotional. So, yeah, it's like over a guy I've never met.
Yeah, it's weird how I feel like a lot of people I know have like a personal connection with him. I've never met him, but I do know several people that actually knew him.
Yeah.
Because he kind of got his start like while we were doing Tea Party stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, so, do you remember Jennifer Madsen from back then?
Yeah. 7:05, Talk 107.3 FM and WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, JP producing, starting off your second hour at 72 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Ready to rock and roll this hour. We got Metro Councilman Dwight Hudson going to be in studio with us coming up in 10 minutes. Will Green from LABI slated to be on the hotline at 7:35. Normally we talk with Will on Mondays, but he was tied up yesterday, and we were able to move things around, get him on today. So I'm looking forward to both of those conversations. Right now, though, before we get to anything else, we start off your second hour with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Cape Louisiana Beautiful, their annual conference is going on right now. Started yesterday, will run through Wednesday. They are inviting experts to discuss ways to resolve Louisiana's litter problems and beautify its public spaces. The conference includes tours of facilities around Baton Rouge dedicated to various aspects of natural beautification. The forum will conclude. It's all being housed over at the Crown Center, but it runs through today all the way, through today on into tomorrow.
Number 4.
State prison officials say initial media reports that 19 inmates being held in Angola for federal immigration officials the reports that they were engaged in a hunger strike were incorrect. But they did say yesterday 3 of the people being held, quote, continue to refuse their meals. Department of Public and Safety and Corrections also said there were, quote, no issues surrounding plumbing. One inmate had clogged things up, but they unclogged the pipe that flooded a cell.
Number 3.
West Baton Rouge Parish Detention Center announced a new warden on Monday afternoon. That would be Trevor McDonald, as the announcement was made by Sheriff Jeff Bergeron. The previous warden retired in early September in the wake of 4 inmates dying in the past year for drug-related reasons.
Number 2.
Atmos Clear BR has selected ExxonMobil to provide carbon transportation and storage services for its biomass energy with carbon capture project at the Port of Greater Baton Rouge. The facility is going to generate clean energy from biomass while capturing and storing up to, get this, 680,000 metric tons of biogenic CO2 annually, and that number could actually go up.
Number 1.
A month after an explosion at Smitty's Supply, people who live and work in the area say cleanup is nowhere near complete, and there's no guarantee that it isn't getting worse. We posted a handful of pics on our Facebook page Friday from a few miles downriver of Smitty's. The sheen on top of the water is still very visible, as are the thick black samples that are being pulled from the water.
Well, it looks like Jimmy Kimmel's time in the penalty box is over. His show will be back on air tonight.
Man, the president's powers of canceling TV seem to be really overrated.
I know.
I thought he just waved a wand and kicked Jimmy Kimmel off the air. Pressured them.
Yeah.
Pressure.
He does. And then Disney says no.
And then, okay. All right.
Disney pushes back.
I mean, I thought, you just had that totalitarian government that just tells you what's on TV and what's not.
That's what we all thought, right?
That's what I thought.
And then Jimmy Kimmel's like, no, I'm back.
Yeah.
Coming back. Oh, man. In other news, Kay Genovese, Southeastern's equipment manager, went viral over the last few days after posting before and after pictures of the classy way the Lions left the visiting locker room in Tiger Stadium.
Super clean.
Yes.
Super clean. They cleaned that thing up nice. Just all that was left in the locker room was the towels that needed to be washed.
Yes. Talk about a class act.
And I'm guessing if he had access to the washing machine, he would have washed them.
Done it himself.
Left a note saying these need to be dried.
Yeah.
Would have stuck around, but, spin cycle was too long. We had to get back to Hammond, USA.
That's
it.
it.
No, but that right there was, like, when I saw that, I retweeted it last night, so if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see it. But that right there is another reason why I like playing the in-state games. Like, everybody from Southeastern wanted to be in Tiger Stadium for their college career. Everybody, when they were playing, Pop Warner ball or high school ball, those lights of Tiger Stadium were where they wanted to be. So dreams came true on Saturday night, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and he tweeted, no matter the outcome, always leave it better than you found it. Thanks for the memory of a lifetime.
Memory of a lifetime, right there.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Love it. I don't know what you were expecting for the start of LSU Ole Miss week, but learning the Whit Weeks is dating Lane Griffin's daughter was not on my radar.
Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin. What did I say?
You
Griffin?
said Griffin.
Sorry. Lane Kiffin. Man, yeah.
Whit Weeks is dating Lane Kiffin's daughter.
Yes. Yes.
I don't have the bandwidth for this.
Right. You talk about a house divided, right? I mean,
Well, I'm.
come on.
But it's Ole Miss week.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need added storylines. Wait, Ole Miss is a traditional rival way back in the day.
Yep.
Not my favorite or least favorite, but it is a traditional rival. And then you got Kiffin on the other side, so the offense is going to be all over the map. And now you got our
Who does she
team captain dating the daughter.
Who's she rooting for, though? Who's she rooting for?
I don't know.
Yeah.
She a double agent.
Mm.
You know, that's what got Tony Soprano killed, was AJ's girlfriend. At least that's what the theories say. If you on the Sopranos fan sites.
That's it, man. Hey, speaking of theories, today, according to TikTok, it's supposed to be the rapture.
I know.
Do we have a time?
We got no time on this.
We've
Well,
got
the Bible says we're not supposed to have
We're
a
not
time nor
supposed to.
place, but time nor hour.
That's right.
Day nor hour, whatever.
No man knows the time or hour, but some couillons on TikTok think they do.
Well, and it, by the way, the content is hilarious.
Yes.
The content is absolutely hilarious.
People are
That
taking
being
this.
said, though, can we reach out and get Kirk Cameron or something?
That's right. If there's anyone who knows Kirk Cameron,
let's
the Left Behind series,
we are now.
Oh man,
I will tell you
that's
this though.
good.
I will tell you this, and I got to credit Byron on the glorified crew over there on Facebook. Got to credit Byron for this one. Even if the rapture happened today, 10 eastbound coming off the bridge would still be jammed up this afternoon. 7-Eleven at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hey, want to talk about getting yourself up in the air? How about flybtr.com? How about that for a segue? How about that for a segue? Got your direct flights to Nashville for the Vanderbilt game, to Birmingham for the Alabama game. Get ready for both of those before they're not annual anymore. And of course, Oklahoma City for the contest against Oklahoma. FlyBTR.com. The Baton Rouge Metro Airport has you set for the remainder of the LSU season. And if you've got friends coming in for our home games, check direct flights coming to us as well to bring some folks to town. FlyBTR.com has got you covered. The Baton Rouge Metro Airport has got you covered. And I tell you all this every time. The success of the direct flights begets more direct flights. If you love that flight to D.C., it's because we use it. And the more direct flights we use, the more we will get. We have a great airport in our own backyard. Let's make use of it. FlyBTR.com. All right. Have you been seeing that on social? Oh,
I did see somebody say something about they stood up too fast and they thought the rapture happened or something. But I didn't know the
I would hope it would be a little more powerful than
I
that.
didn't know the context, so that makes sense why they said it. But hey, just a reminder, the event today is part of my role with Right on Crime.
Okay. And Executive Center is off there on Foster, right? Yeah, right by. I work out at that. Yeah, that's where I work out. Let's start with that before we get into Metro Council stuff, because I don't want to get down a rabbit hole and not get back around to it. So. Talk 107.3, along with First American Bank and Trust, are teaming up to honor our military and raise funds for Folds of Honor. This nonprofit organization provides scholarships to the spouses and children of soldiers who were killed or disabled in service. To donate to this important cause, visit our website at talk1073.com. Folds of Honor, to honor their sacrifice and educate their legacy. Time to pivot over, talk a little city business. We've got Metro Councilman Dwight Hudson in the house. How are you, man? Hey, good. How about you? There we go. How are we?
Good. How about you, Brian?
Doing very well as well. I tell you what, we got a lot of Metro Council business to cover, but I want two things we got to touch on before we get to that.
Sure.
Okay. You've got an event coming up today. We'll get to that in a second. Can we rewind the clock back to Friday before last? You were at the Charlie Kirk Memorial out there at LSU. I saw you out there very
powerful
briefly.
Event, yes, sir.
Your immediate takeaways of it were what?
Well, first, it's tragic what happened. Honestly, obviously, no one should be killed for the political speech that they make. I mean, it's tragic. Particularly at that event, what I walked away with was how impressed I was with our LSU students. The event that they put on in the wake of having the leader of their organization at Turning Point's LSU being killed. Man, they did a fantastic job. I mean, these young college kids that did a superb job at getting some of the highest elected officials in the land, from Speaker Mike Johnson, Governor Jeff Landry, out there very quickly. And then just put on an event that really honored Charlie, his legacy, and the message that he brought about Christ, I think was really important.
Speaker Johnson, up in the northwestern corner of the state, we don't get to see him politic very often. That dude can throw down.
He's good at it, right?
Man. I mean, I know him from interviews. I know him from, sound bites and whatnot, or watching C-SPAN, whatever. But my goodness, you give him a microphone, he's got some power.
I'll let you know that when I first met Mike Johnson, I was talking to him about some very obscure things happening at the Metro Council at the time, and he knew all about it and walked me through the legal implications of it.
Was
and
he
the political.
he was
still at the state at the time, but walked me through the legal implications of the policy and then the political ramifications of it as well. I mean, for him to know at that time, what's going on in Baton Rouge is just crazy, But he's
it really is.
We had a great asset for us.
My biggest takeaway, and this was from when I saw you, I was videoing a bunch of the students as they were leaving. Mine was, I was asking them, what did Charlie Kirk mean to you? And almost all of them said, he gave me the courage to not be ashamed of who I am, like to speak up for my political beliefs. And not all of them were conservative beliefs.
Right.
It's just like wherever you come from, if this is what you believe, speak up for what you believe. That to me was cool to see, that I didn't realize that 18 to 22-year-olds had that much trouble being them. I mean,
yeah, look, participating in dialogue
right.
is tough for people even my age, I'm
because
40,
we don't engage. We shout people down rather than, so I thought that was cool as well. All right. You've got an event coming up, not as a member of the Metro Council,
right,
but you're also with Right on Crime.
Right. So I'm the new state director for Right on Crime here in Louisiana. We have an awesome event today geared towards business owners, hiring professionals, HR managers, that type of thing, where we will be talking about second chance hiring. So we'll be walking those business managers and hiring teams through the process of onboarding someone that is reentering society from prison, and then also some of the benefits, the tax advantages that are available, and just the practical steps to how to do it.
I'm sorry, there are tax incentives available, you said?
Absolutely, yes.
What are we looking at there?
So if you want to go to rightoncrime.com, we have a great pamphlet that will, employer handbook, that will walk you through that process and all the advantages to it. But essentially, it's federal tax credits that are available when you hire someone that is reentering society from prison.
I'm kind of putting this one on a tee for you, but there's a level of importance to making sure that those who are on their way back into society are able to find work. And the biggest reason for that is?
Yeah, so one of the biggest indicators for recidivism is employment. And so we talk a lot about violent crime here in the Capital Region, right? If you want to have an impact on violent crime, getting people back into the workforce when they come home from prison so that they don't recidivate is absolutely key. It's something that we have to do.
And it's more than just the paycheck. The paycheck's important, but it's so much more than just the paycheck. And to step away from the dollars and cents side of it is, like, if you're not earning money, you get desperate, you have more need. Like, right. We all understand that part of it. but I would argue that the connectivity to society is equally important. The having a purpose is equally as important as the dollars they're earning.
I like to say there is dignity in work.
Yes.
And I think that's the key, right? That's what gets you purpose in life. That's what gives you the chance to get ahead and to give yourself a meaning. And so it's absolutely important.
Yes, you have dignity, you have purpose. You also develop a network, folks around you who can be a support system for you, that if you are not in the workplace, you don't have coworkers. I mean, how many people rely on their coworkers just to shoot the breeze with, blow off some steam with, vent with? Like, when you have that, it's so much more mentally and emotionally healthy for the whole person.
Right, that's right. So that event is from 8:30 to 12 today at the Executive Center, Government in South Foster. Come one, come all. We would love for any business owners or hiring managers that are interested in the event to come out. We'll have Secretary Gary Westcott from Department of Public Safety and Corrections, Renee DeLuche, his Assistant Secretary, and then Susie Schoen from LA Works as well. So we have several other panelists that are going to come and participate, really an all-star cast to get those folks plugged in to helping us.
You mentioned Susie Schoen's name without saying one door. We all get penalized when that happens.
And we will have and you know, so what Aaron Bendeley from Pelican Institute, which absolutely had a big thing to do with one door, will be there as well. And so we do expect a conversation around that topic.
Okay, so. Then the penalty, they picked up the flag off
good,
the field. We're good now.
After review.
Right, after review, there was no penalty on that play. We got Metro Councilman Dwight Hudson on with us. Okay. Let's pivot over to some Metro Council stuff going on right now. And this is as much the mayor's office as it is y'all's business. But Thrive EBR, I feel like it's gaining momentum. I don't know if it's gaining understanding. Where are you at from a council standpoint on the push for Thrive EBR?
Yeah, so we are attempting to get the message out there wherever we can. One, we want people to understand that this is a rededication of existing taxes, right? So the message that I've always heard from voters, and I've been here for about 9 years now, is that we want you to do a better job with the money that we've already given you. And so that is really what this attempt is for. We want to maintain dedicated funding for libraries, mosquito abatement, and council on aging. But we also want to do a better job with those millages so that we can impact some other services like drainage and roads and that kind of thing. That is what Thrive is all about.
Right.
That, and then, of course, paying down the debt so that we put ourselves on a strong financial footing moving forward in this parish. This really has a chance to impact us for decades moving forward to put us on a strong financial footing.
There's so many different working pieces within this, and it's one of the things that I love about it is it's taking existing funds to make them better. Like, there's something that you and I both believe in very strongly.
Absolutely.
Is that our city parish has always been unwilling to open this door.
People have told me I've been beating a dead horse for 9 years.
Well, the horse just
I said the horse is alive.
Right. But the problem, or the part that worries me about this, Dwight, is the fact that now that this door is being opened, now that the horse is back on his feet, are voters going to understand that not only is this not a new tax, but the taxes they've already voted yes for, we would lose funding for libraries, we would lose funding for council on aging, we would lose funding for mosquito abatement. If they vote no to this, we're losing what we are. Well, it's regression at that point.
Right, particularly for the library.
Yeah.
And so the other thing to keep in mind about the library portion of it is that we have one bite at the apple in order to use that fund balance to pay down the debt, right? If we don't approve this and this chance, then the library is going to need to spend down that fund balance to keep operating until they can get a new proposal on the ballot. Right. And so when that happens, you've lost that opportunity to pay down the debt. Look, I have 2 young kids, so maybe this is a selfish way to think about it. But I want to get that. I want to get this issue done with the debt now, so that my kids don't have to deal with it.
Right.
And so I think this is our chance.
When it comes to and see, to me, the issue with the debt, like, it's such a bonus because it's like, oh, where'd this come from? We've had this the whole time. But it's an important part of the equation because I had Daryl Hurst in yesterday. We're talking about the possibility of a new East Baton Rouge Parish jail, which we need to change from prison to jail. He consistently whooped my butt about that. But
he'll do that.
Yes, he does. That's why I have him on, by the way. But we're in need of a new detention facility in the city parish. We can't afford it right now.
That's right.
We can't, but and I know construction costs only go up. So every day that we put that off, it's going to cost more. But at the same time, though, where we're at with Thrive EBR is we are going to make up ground to be able to get the dates like that and projects like that sooner if we can get through this muck that we're in right now.
Absolutely. So the main thing about Thrive is that you are increasing the amount of essentially flexible funding that you have in order to better address issues that require funding from the general fund. Department of Maintenance and Grounds comes from the general fund.
Right.
And so if you want to do a better job of taking care of the parish prison, if you want to do a better job of taking care of drainage and roads, it's time to vote yes on Thrive.
A big chunk of your district, if not all of it, is within St. George.
About 90%.
Yeah, outside the city limits. What's the vibe out there? Because there's a portion of our populace that's not going to vote for anything until we're completely deconsolidated, right? There's a portion that says, like, I don't like these monies intermingling. And until we can get there, I don't know that we can get there right now, but until we can get there, is there an understanding that this isn't perfect, but it's better?
Yeah, I don't hear a lot of chatter about tying this vote necessarily to the deconsolidation argument. I definitely do hear the deconsolidation argument in my area. I don't know that these two issues are necessarily tied together. But I think that the feedback in my area is largely just a negative opinion about property taxes. Look, I'm a conservative, tax busters, Tea Party guy, right?
Yeah.
So I totally understand not liking property taxes. But at the end of the day, these property taxes exist. That's how we fund these departments. That's how we funded them for many, many years now. And the only other way to fund them would be to increase sales tax. So
Right.
I don't think we want to do that either. So I think this is a prudent way to go about it by rededicating the millages as opposed to proposing new millages. And it is our best path forward.
Metro Councilman Dwight Hudson's with us for about 4 more minutes. Let's pivot over to Thrive EBR will be on the November ballot. Yes, and we're working towards that. It's something that I've actually been, I'm supposed to be neutral on most things, but I'm very much a vocal supporter of this program.
We appreciate that, Brian.
No, absolutely. Meanwhile, I don't know if you knew this or not, but Jen Rocca was at my house last night digging in the couch cushions looking for coins. So what's the Metro Council up to when it comes to finding more revenue or finding other ways to save nickel and diming us in reverse? I mean, what are y'all up to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Until Thrive gets passed, y'all gotta find every dime you can.
You mentioned Councilwoman Jen Rocca. Big kudos to her. She has done a ton of work on our insurance costs in the parish. We, under her leadership, have looked at a proposal that will reduce our insurance costs by as much as $19 million. You're also going to see before the Thrive vote, you'll see us get more into the budget process. And so you'll see a belt tightening around city parish that way as well. So I would say it's not so much as us going out and looking for additional revenues at this point. It's about tightening the belt at city parish right now. That's the big message.
How many opportunities are there, I guess is the way I should be phrasing the question.
Well, you and I.
Insurance is a big one.
Yeah, insurance is a huge one. Other than that, we're going to be looking at operations and attrition through employees and that kind of thing. The opportunities to cut, though, are limited, and this kind of goes back to the necessity of Thrive.
Yeah.
Because so much of our funds are dedicated, right? So you only get to tighten the belt in the general fund departments. You only get to tighten the belt in about a third of the budget.
Yeah.
Everything else is dedicated. It's an enterprise fund, which means it operates off the revenue that it generates. And so you don't have that big of an opportunity to do it.
Last one before we get you out of here, and this goes back to Thrive a little bit. You talk about dedicated funds. Is Thrive the springboard to get more things undedicated, to make more things general fund and fewer things on lock?
No, I think that, the reason why those millages that are in Thrive are there is because they are parish-wide millages. Now, we do have other dedicated millages, particularly fire districts and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But those are all individual districts that don't encompass the entire city parish. So I suspect that these are the ones that you're looking at, and you won't see more efforts to undedicate and that kind of thing.
Last time, one more time before we get you out of here. Your details are 8:30 till noon. You said or-
8:30 till noon at the Executive Center on Government in South Foster, right behind the new YMCA. It's off of South Foster. We would love for folks to come out, even if you can only come and take part in a part of the panel. We would love for you to come and listen. We'll have some resources for you there, and yeah, come one, come all.
Second Chance Hiring. The event is, like you said, off of North Foster, right behind the AC Lewis YMCA. He is Metro Councilman Dwight Hudson. I appreciate a couple minutes.
Thanks, Brian.
We got news, traffic, and weather coming your way. We'll continue next.
All right, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah, thank you.
It's good to meet you. I'm going to have to talk for 13 minutes because I think Will Green's a no. Yeah. Scheduling snafu. I want to go back to the same hurricane cuss. I don't care if it's a repeat. We're going to do the same thing over again. Oh, we need those. Add 13, 14, and 15 to the mix. We'll do both of those here. Did I have you on today? I thought you were going to go down there the next time you came on here. All right. .737 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Got to pivot real quick. We were supposed to talk with Will Green from LABI right here. We had a scheduling snafu, and we are in the we're working to reschedule that right now. We'll get Will on hopefully before the week is out. If not, he joins us every Monday. So if worst case scenario is we don't catch up until next Monday, but. Let's pivot real quick. I want to go back to a story that we covered from last hour and also touch on another story that our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network were talking about as well. Before we get to either of those, let me remind you about the folks at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. LandmarkBankLA.com. If you want to know where they are located, and this is the important part, right? If you want to know where they are located, let me give you the quick rundown, but LandmarkBankLA.com, their locations are listed there. You'll find them in Clinton. You'll find them in Greensburg. You will find them in Zachary. You will find them, actually, 2 spots in Zachary. Only one of them is a, bank with the drive-thrus and tellers and all that good stuff. You'll find them in Denham Springs, and they're now open in Brewley on the other side of the river. Now, those locations are important because you will notice that they are all in individual communities. And that's the important part with Landmark Bank. Community. They were founded in 1897 as a community bank and remain so today. Why is that important? Because of the one-on-one level of service and attention that you're going to get. You matter to them as much as they matter to you. If you've been a part of someone's community for an extended period of time, that relationship grows. So your own personal wants, needs, and desires, they are able to help get you there when it comes to your personal banking. Whether you're talking about borrowing to buy a new car or buy your forever home or downsize once the kids are at the house or plan for your retirement, they've got you covered on a one-on-one level. Don't just get a bank. Get a banker with LandmarkBankLA.com. So President Donald Trump is asking pregnant women not to take Tylenol, as he says there is a link between acetaminophen and autism. President of the Louisiana chapter of the Autism Society, Beryl Hebert, says there is no conclusive evidence of Tylenol use in pregnancy and autism.
Correlation, a link, does not imply causation.
Which is important, but if there is correlation, don't we need to know that part of the equation as well? As much as everybody wants to slam dunk on this and say there's nothing to it, they had to get it from somewhere. It had to start with something. Now, President Trump says the Food and Drug Administration is going to notify physicians immediately that it is strongly recommended that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. Hebert recommends talking with your physician personally.
If you have a concern, talk it over with those people who take care of you medically that you trust.
Now, talk about where they got this from. Where did the link come from? There are some studies that point to a possible link. Hebert says the best study out there on this issue was released last year. It says acetaminophen use during pregnancy was not associated with children's risk of autism.
This was an American Medical Association study that was written up in their journal with 2 million plus children that found no causal link.
So it begs the question of where they're digging in on this. But I have a separate question for you. Okay, if the link is to acetaminophen, is the president going to be in trouble for using the word Tylenol? Tylenol's not a drug. Tylenol's a name brand. Acetaminophen's the drug within Tylenol, right? I mean, there are other active ingredients as well. But if you're talking about acetaminophen, you're talking about acetaminophen across the board. And how dangerous is it to say you don't use Tylenol? Because if I'm like, let's just say I'm in a Walgreens, okay, and I'm down that pain relief aisle, and I see Tylenol, and right next to it I see acetaminophen, if the president says, or Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or if RFK Jr. says, don't take Tylenol, you go and reach for the acetaminophen, you're taking the same stuff. Essentially, you're taking the same stuff. So you're not getting people away from what you're claiming has a potential link to autism. All you're doing is moving them to the generic brand or to a different name. Tylenol's the biggest name out there. Absolutely. We understand that. But if the cause that you're, if what you're determining to be the cause is acetaminophen, Tylenol's name doesn't need to come up at all. Now, somewhere in the story, it should say, as found in products like Tylenol. But if acetaminophen's the culprit, acetaminophen's the culprit. And what are you doing to, like, this would be a good question for Franz. We might need to do this as part of Legally Served tomorrow. If you're Tylenol or Tylenol's makers, do you have any level of recourse here that the president and the head of the Health and Human Services is actively telling people to avoid your product? Your product, which has been available over the counter for, decades now, so much so that your name is synonymous with the generic drug that's inside it? I tell you what, let's pivot over here real quick. I want to keep with this story, but move it over to more of the national level. JP, I'm about to send you a quick cut, on this story, and I want to continue down this path, but make sure that I'm giving the proper attribution where it needs to be. All right, go ahead. Check your email; it should be there. Or it will be in a second, I should say. In telling pregnant women that they shouldn't take Tylenol due to the increased risk of autism, our news partners at ABC, they say Trump provided no evidence, but said the FDA will begin notifying physicians immediately. And I honestly don't turn to the president for evidence on things like this. There should be scientists that are up there on the dais or up there, alongside him. Look, we're all familiar with press conferences. We remember damn near every day through COVID, there were press conferences where the governor would step to the podium, and then whoever was running health and hospitals here in Louisiana, whether it was Dr. BU or whoever else, would step to the podium after the governor, and then you'd run through the list. We see it when we have hurricanes. The governor will speak his piece, then you'll have different people who work the actual nuts and bolts, the people who are behind the logistics. They'll step to the microphone as well. Our news partners at ABC News caught up with Dr. Jessica Steyer, a public health scientist and founder of the company Unbiased Science. She says the administration is actually misciting what was a major study.
The lead author of that study that was out of Mount Sinai and Harvard, I believe, he himself said that this study cannot answer the question about causation.
Acetaminophen and Tylenol are such like your normal everyday drugs. JP, I'm sending you one more, by the way. There's just such normal everyday drugs. It would be baffling to think that we would be this far down the road with something we've taken every day to just kind of retract all of a sudden and say, oh no, this was bad for you the whole time. Conversely, if there are further studies to be done, shouldn't we be doing them? Let's go back to Dr. Jessica Steyer, who talks about not just that there was a study miscited, but if you're a pregnant woman, one of the things that acetaminophen does is it can knock down a fever. And aren't fevers dangerous for pregnant women?
There are known risks associated with fevers, right? So we know that it could increase neural tube defects, things like spina bifida, congenital heart defects, stillbirth, preterm delivery, and more.
So this is about so much more than whether or not you're taking Tylenol to avoid autism. There are other things. The actual uses of the drug are right there, and needed. I don't know, it's going to send us down a rabbit hole. I want to learn a lot more about this. But in the meanwhile, that's I suppose the news of the day, as it were. The Dr. Steyer goes on to say, when it comes to pregnant women and fever, you don't just tough it out. You take something to help abate the fever, because the secondary risks are that great. So I'm sure we'll learn more as it moves forward. Meanwhile, we need to check the tropics again real quick. I know as of right now, there's nothing bearing down on us specifically. There is a name storm out there and 2 other disturbances. Tell you about that in just a second. Do want to remind you about Matherns. Yeah, it's an away game weekend this weekend. So while I normally tell you to swing by Matherns on game day to pop off for a couple of cold ones, and because they blow out the salad bar and fill it with beer, or they have the pop-up tent outside selling the beer, or you grab a bowl of jambalaya. Yeah, that's all great on a home game day. What about away games? Are you hosting? Are you bringing people over? 2:45 kickoff is a little bit earlier in the day. Maybe just maybe you want to think about getting this bad boy catered. I mean, do your tailgate upright and enjoy it. Enjoy it thoroughly by having Matherns cater your tailgate. They do the party trays. Oh, they're so good too. They do the party trays. If you go to Matherns.com, you get the full list of what they have to offer. Such variety. The chicken wings are beyond compare. In fact, I go by, they do the hot wing bar over the campus location. I go by there probably more than I should. I will call it every other Friday just so I can feel a little bit better about it. Oh, the lemon garlic wings, unbelievable. Cajun wings, Korean pepper, all so good. And you put that on a catering tray, you make your guests happy. So, home or away, Matherns has got you covered. All right, run out to the tropics real quick. Gabrielle, maximum sustained winds, 140 miles per hour. That being said, not going to be a problem for us. Going to stay out in the Atlantic. Don't care how strong she gets, going to stay out in the Atlantic. Meanwhile, there are 2 disturbances trailing Gabrielle, looking like they're going to take roughly similar paths. Disturbance number 1 shows shower and thunderstorm activity associated with a tropical wave located a little less than 1,000 miles east of the Lesser Antilles, continuing to show signs of organization. Environmental conditions are forecast to be favorable for development over the next several days, and a tropical depression is likely to form by the latter half of this week. It's at a 90% chance of becoming a named storm. Will be Umberto once it becomes a named storm. Now, that being said, it looks like it's pointed pretty much at North Carolina. So I don't know if it's going to have that same hook, that same turn that every storm has had so far this hurricane season, or if it's just going to trudge straight from, on a northwesterly pattern and smack into the East Coast. But that's where it's at right now. Probably not going to be a threat to us. Meanwhile, there's another disturbance that has been upgraded to a 60% chance of becoming a named storm. That one looks like it's going to push a little bit closer to the East Coast. The Gulf of Mexico still doesn't look like it's a possibility for it. But we are, like we like to say, not done with hurricane season until the end of November. Yes, we're past the peak, but there are still possibilities. Oh, man. Oh. Now we'll go back to 10, 11, and 12. Yeah. $7:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Want to go back to a story we had last hour. You heard from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network as well. That's a story talking about the categorization of hurricanes and why do they stop at 5 and why do they only measure wind speed? And these are all good questions. University of South Florida, Jennifer Collins is a professor of geosciences over there, says there's two other factors that go along with wind speed that really need to be considered when it comes to measuring the strength of a hurricane.
Our scale actually takes into account storm surge and rainfall. And this makes sense because only 10% of fatalities come from wind alone.
I'm trying to figure out in my head, like in real time, if only 10% of fatalities come from wind alone, then why haven't we been looking at storm surge as a factor? Do we just naturally have increased wind means increased storm surge? No, it normally has to do with the size of the storm as well, the width of the storm. And as far as the rainfall is concerned, yeah, you could take a pounding on the rain, but that's of the three, that's probably the least, determinant of a factor. So if you have a storm whipping through at 140 mile an hour winds and it's bringing with it a huge storm surge, but it's hauling, if it's moving quickly, it's not going to sit on you with all that rain. Whereas a weaker storm that moves slower would. Collins says factoring in the rainfall and storm surge would allow forecasters to give a much more accurate threat level for each storm.
We can have a category for each of those: wind, storm surge, and rainfall, and then we have an overall category.
Back in 2005, Wilma would have been classified as a 6. The overall category, by the way, would normally be the highest value of the 3 ratings combined. Collins says in certain instances you can have a 6, and that's what Wilma would have been back in 2005.
You've got at least 2 of the hazard-based categories are a Cat 5, or 2 of the categories are a Cat 4, and 1 is a Cat 5.
I wonder what Katrina would have been before making landfall. I mean, obviously downgraded to a 3 by the time it made landfall. It was a Cat 5 before it made landfall. I wonder what Katrina would have been. Would that have increased to a 6? Because you had storm surge push up on the Gulf Coast that annihilated Mississippi's Gulf Coast. You had storm surge push through the Wrigley's into Lake Pontchartrain and then backup canals and whatnot. That was a major factor, not the only factor, but a major factor in the levees breaching. Storm surge on Katrina would have been pretty significant, a pretty significant factor in reclassifying the hurricane. What are your thoughts? Good idea, bad idea? Unintended consequences would be what? Because when we were talking about this last hour, I'm asking the question of what do the insurance companies do in response? Do they retroactively look at previous storms and reclassify them and say, no, it was much more dangerous in Louisiana than you first thought, so your insurance is going to have to go up? Jeremy sends in a message on this one. He says, why do we have hurricane categories only up to 5 currently? A better question to ask is, what's the difference between getting hit by a 4 or getting hit by a 5? They're both pretty much total destruction. Would adding a 6 to that mix make any difference at all? I don't know. It's a good question, Jeremy. At a certain point, once you're annihilated, right? What about you? Let us know. We're live on Facebook every single day, courtesy of the folks over at Lake Urgent Care. Sound off in the chat. We often have conversations that really get derailed quickly. But whether we're on the air or during break, we chat over on Facebook Live, and you are more than welcome to join us, courtesy of the folks at Lake Urgent Care. All right, quick break for news, traffic, weather. We'll be back next. Oh. Oh. Just got home late last night. Basketball ran long. The games before us ran long. We got home. It was close to 10 o'clock. Coming off a loss, too. Oh, let me go see about getting Will a new spot. I'll be right back. All right, 7:35 tomorrow. Oh, shit. Parking lot's open on this side, like I thought it would be. What do you know? I'm across the street. What do you know?
Dang. Whoa.
806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, JP producing, getting you ready for a busy third hour. Let's talk about the Senate race. Let's talk with Senator Bill Cassidy. That's coming up 8 minutes from right now. Honestly, why does he even want the gig? Like, he's running for re-election in the Senate, and it's always a good question to ask somebody, whether it's their first time running or they've had the gig for a while. Why do you want to be, or in this case, why do you want to continue to be a senator from Louisiana? We'll talk with him at 8:15, 8:35, and Sigga Niccolazzi, podcast host, does a lot of really great work in the true crime space. Her podcast's new season is out. Last season was all about the mafia, pretty much. This season, domestic terrorism. We'll talk with her at 8:35. Right now, though, we start off your third hour with this day in history. Oh, I got to get up, JP. I got to move around.
I see that, man. I'm feeling
Late night
it too.
last night. Late night at the Nest.
Yeah.
Over on Marquette. Oh, it's the Blue Jays of Mercy and the Dragons of St. George. We're talking 8th grade girls basketball, the hottest ticket in Baton Rouge. You can't get this kind of excitement for $5 anywhere else.
I'm telling you, man.
Intensity, man. Intensity.
I see that.
Blue
It's
Jays
taking
came
its
up
toll.
short last night.
Oh.
The Blue Jays came up short last night. I'm bummed about it because when these girls do battle, it is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Really, it's I don't know. I forget how awesome kids sports are.
Yeah, like age and grade, it's not a factor, right?
We're talking
they're still
eighth grade,
giving it their
we're
all.
talking 8th grade girls basketball. And these girls know how to play. I mean, they're not out there like, it's not like the WNBA or anything like that, and it's not even like anybody playing for Coach Mulkey. But these girls, they're fundamentally sound. I mean, they can shoot from just about anywhere. My daughter hit a 3-pointer last night.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How does that feel as a dad? Hitting that 3?
Oh,
man.
Well,
Come on.
I mean, I don't mean to brag, but, it's getting kind of normal.
Nice. It's a good thing. That's awesome.
No, but it's so, and the best part about it, and I'm not saying this, like, I'm not being flippant about this.
Yeah.
They sit in the stands with their opponents before the game and after the game.
Oh, man.
They're besties.
See?
Like, and they're all going to be in high school together next year.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
That is cool.
But, like, I don't know. It's so intense while it's going on. All right, I'm sorry. I'm derailing this day in history. Let's go.
No, you're good. You're good. These girls are out here making history, Brian.
Well, they are.
1862, U.S. President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation is published in northern newspapers.
Okay.
So, yeah, officially published. I believe it was yesterday.
Uh-huh.
I believe it was written up.
Yeah.
1889. I didn't know Nintendo was around this long.
Yeah.
They began as a card playing game. A card game company. Yeah, it's insane. So, that. Let's see. 1952, U.S. Vice presidential candidate Richard Nixon makes his Checkers speech defending the gift of a Cocker Spaniel named Checkers to his daughters.
Yep.
Okay.
Remember that one. Hey, 1806, no love?
1806, what was it?
All right, no love for Lewis and Clark?
Oh.
They got to
they
St.
returned?
Louis, Missouri. This was on their way back from the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
They refound St. Louis again.
There we
Like,
go.
are we back here? Really? What are we, the Rams?
Circled back. Oh, man. 1962, the first color TV series, The Jetsons, created by Hanna-Barbera, premieres today. And we've already been down this rabbit
we've
hole.
been down this rabbit hole.
Oh, we have.
Do not, under any circumstances, do not go looking up the ages of George, Judy, and Jane Jetson.
Just stay away from it. 1980, reggae legend Bob Marley's final concert at Stanley Theater in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania today. And keeping it with music, 1989, Milli Vanilli started a 2-week run at #1 in the U.S. single chart with Girl, I'm Gonna Miss You, the duo's second #1.
Yep.
Man. 1994, The Shawshank Redemption, released today. 1994. And 2009, Modern Family, premieres today on ABC.
Love that show so much. Absolutely. If you've not watched it, Christy and I went back and watched the whole thing. It's just such a phenomenal show. What do we got on the birthday front?
Well, birthdays, it's huge. Ray Charles today.
Ray Charles, yep.
Bruce Springsteen.
Yep.
Louisiana's own Anthony Mackie.
Yep.
John Coltrane.
Yep.
And Mickey Rooney.
And John Harbaugh in that mix as well.
Okay.
Yep. And Julio Iglesias.
All right.
How dare you miss Julio Iglesias?
Julio Iglesias. Sigmund Freud today on deaths.
Yep. And there's one other one too. Bob Fosse. Bob Fosse was the other one.
Gail Sayers as well.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay.
And National Day today, National Voter Registration Day.
All right. That's way better. I had like chicken pot pie day. So
okay,
I'll take voter registration day all day long.
Why not both?
Yep. 812 Talk 107.3 FM. Quick break, come back. Senator Bill Cassidy wants to remain Senator Bill Cassidy. I want to know why. We'll talk about it next.
So, guys, I noticed that the tequila bottle's empty. You know what I'm saying?
Tequila bottle.
It's not like it was given to and like it's kept as a trophy. It's like empty.
No, that did not last long. So, and it's been there since likewise.
These morning shows will get to you.
Yeah, but it's a morning show.
Right.
No, I'm kidding. But no, yeah.
I noticed that we keep a campaign, but WBR. 8:15, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. All right, it's time to talk politics. It's time to talk about the upcoming election season. It's time to welcome back to the studio Senator Bill Cassidy. How are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic, Brian. By the way, I noticed somebody had given you a bottle of tequila, obviously locally produced.
Yes.
They just wanted to like brag about it.
Yeah.
That tequila bottle is empty, brother.
Well, sometimes the endorsements speak for themselves. Let my actions speak louder than my words. That's Noel brand tequila. That's Natalie Noel and her dad. They make that. Now it's actually, as all tequila is, made in Mexico. It's bottled here, produced here, and distributed here. And they do a fantastic job. It's a fantastic product. The Reposado is even better than the Blanco. But yes, let my actions speak louder than my words.
And this is a
bottle.
morning show. I mean, like,
it's all relative, Senator. If I got to be up at 3:45 in the morning, we're coming up at the end of the show. It's gonna be lunchtime for me, right? So look, if you work the night shift, right? So
it's 5 p.m. somewhere in the world.
Exactly right. Very well said. I want to get into the race for re-election here in just a little bit, but I kind of. Can we spend 1 minute on the news of the day?
Absolutely.
Okay. The president recommending pregnant women not take Tylenol. Your experience as a doctor, what were your initial reactions or comments on that?
So first, any person taking medicine, anyone who's pregnant should speak to her physician regarding whatever medicine she should take. That's number one. Number two, they were quoting a study which found an association. Now, that's the key thing, an association. That doesn't mean it causes it. It just means that it's associated. Mm-hmm. I would point that there is an article out of Sweden. 2 million people followed. And what they did is they looked at someone who had autism and they compared them to a sibling who did not have autism.
Okay.
And they found no association, effectively, between taking Tylenol or not. Now, that is the best controlled study. That's the one which, you rank studies. Some are high quality and some of them not very good. That's the highest quality that's out there, and that found no association whatsoever. Why does this matter? Well, first, again, talk to your OB about it. But secondly, like I was talking to a woman, she goes, "Oh, this is great. 2 men telling me not to take the only thing I can take when my back's hurting and I'm pregnant."
Right.
2 men telling me not to take something. And so, and that she was just expressing her frustration.
Right.
So I get that. But there is a practical reason. This is the drug you take when you sprain your ankle and you happen to be pregnant. Mm-hmm. But talk to your OB. I think your OB is going to say it's safe to take. But as always, talk to your OB.
Well, and it lends back to how many times throughout our recent history have we been reminded we have our doctors for a reason. I trust my doctor implicitly. And I turn to my doctor for advice before I turn to the TV all day, or the internet, God forbid, all day long.
And of course, the internet, they're just going to flood you with stuff. And so it's hard to make that out.
Right.
But there really is a hierarchy, kind of like, oh, this is a really high quality study, and this is something which is not very good. Let's put more faith in the one which is high quality. And that's what your doctor, she's going to tell you that which is high quality.
We got Senator Bill Cassidy in with us. Okay, on to the upcoming, the bid for re-election, as it were. I'm going to ask this as bluntly as possible. Why do you still want this gig?
It is such a privilege to represent the great state of Louisiana and the people of the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
And I can look at a record of accomplishment over the 11 years that I've been in the Senate, and I can brag on that record. Billions coming to Louisiana for roads and bridges, more money than we would have otherwise received had I not been there. Mm-hmm. Money coming to decrease our risk of flooding, money that we wouldn't have gotten had I not been there. Money for coastal restoration projects, which hundreds of millions have come, which we're not sure we would have gotten it had I not been there. And I can kind of go down the list of things, like next thing rolling out is we have money coming down to make sure that everyone in Louisiana has access to high-speed, affordable internet, money that we wouldn't have gotten had I not been there. Now, I've been working for my state, working for my country, and I just want to keep on doing it because I think there's more to be done.
Senator Bill Cassidy is with us. Okay, let's talk about where there's more to be done before we go back over the resume again, because since Donald Trump's reelection, you and he have been working quite well together to put out a lot of, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Still on the table for you, though, unanswered questions or unsolved problems that you want to get to. What are the top issues that we're looking at here?
Yeah, if you look at what really influences people in our state, it's crime, It's the economy. How do they have a better paying job? And how can they afford things like insurance? Now, crime, we've been working on that. The president just signed into law my Halt Fentanyl Act. The Halt Fentanyl Act, about 100,000 people die annually in overdoses in the United States. Off the top of my head, 70% of those from fentanyl.
Mm-hmm.
My bill, I wrote, the president signed into law. In a ceremony, I'm standing directly behind him. He says this will be one of the most important bills we sign, and giving law enforcement another tool to fight fentanyl pushers. Now, that's just one example of what we're doing on crime. On the economy, the one big beautiful bill, which I think now the president wants to call the Tax Cut for Working Families Act, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. If you're a senior, you most likely won't be paying tax on your Social Security benefit. If you got kids, you get a tax credit, $2,200 for each child that you have per year to help raise those children.
Mm-hmm.
Other things in that. So working on the economy, we need to improve the economy for the people of our state. Lastly, insurance. There's two things. There's property and casualty. It's flood. The governor, he's responsible for the property and casualty. Flood, I've been working on now for 4 or 5 years. First, getting it reauthorized, but secondly, also trying to make it so that it's more affordable, more accountable, and more sustainable. And I think we're going to achieve that. It's not easy. Nothing in the Congress is easy, but we're pushing it, and I think we can push that through. And that will give stability for flood insurance premiums for folks who have been affected by that.
Senator Bill Cassidy's in with us. Continuing on, go back to the Halt Fentanyl Act. You recently had a press conference with a gaggle of families up there. We're finding more and more every day that there are no demographics that can't be hit by fentanyl. How personally did you take that particular piece of legislation?
Oh, my gosh. Everybody knows, everybody listening knows of somebody who has died from fentanyl or of a family who's had a family member died. We should all take it personally. And it's affecting, like the mayor of Central, Matt got up there, he goes, man, I'll have 2 people that we get called to give Narcan to because they will otherwise die from a fentanyl overdose. This is Central.
Mm-hmm.
This is middle class, normie Central.
Right. Okay.
And it just goes through. And so we've got to have a response as a society. I'll also say as a doctor, of course, I care about the health of our people. And so cared about it deeply. I'll also say the president cared about it deeply. That's why he had a signing ceremony in the White House. And I'm very proud of that.
Senator Bill Cassidy is with us. We'll get back to some of the accomplishments in just a little bit. I want to talk to you about the campaign trail. It's a little bit different this year. You kind of have to structure things out a little bit differently because of the closed primaries, pushing things up sooner. How does that help or hurt you to manage your time between D.C. and the state?
It is what it is. We've been incredibly busy in D.C., incredibly busy. I think we set a record for the most days that we were there trying to push through the president's nominations because Democrats were doing nothing to help us. Mm-hmm. The Democrats blocked literally every single nominee. Normally, I think Obama had off the top of my head, 90% of his nominees by voice vote or unanimous consent, which just means you wave them through. Mm-hmm. Trump has had zero. So we stayed up there. That's okay. You keep on working it. You keep on working. If you work for the state, good policy is good politics. And I just got to trust that people recognize, whoa, they're redoing that bridge. Oh, that's money Cassidy got down here. Right. That's a good thing.
Talk with Senator Bill Cassidy. Let's go back to the economy part of this equation. What's next? What are you working on that could be in the pipeline?
So I'm working to fix Social Security, which is about to go insolvent. When that happens, benefits will be cut by 24%. Now, all the other solutions, they want to raise your taxes, they want to cut your benefits. That's not my solution. My solution actually increases benefits for some, but it uses the power of the U.S. economy to bail out Social Security. Why is that important? If we don't fix social, it'll double the rate of poverty among the elderly. Mm-hmm. And folks say, oh, no, we'll just borrow the money. If you just borrow the money, then that's going to increase our nation's debt to a point that we just cannot handle it.
Right.
So what I'm trying to do is, but by the way, if you fix Social Security, it takes care of 20% of your nation's indebtedness. Think about that. 20% of the nation's indebtedness if you fix social. So that's what I've been working on. That's a big thing we're doing. We're also trying to do some other stuff to push back on China and to take jobs from China and put them back in the United States, taking advantage of all the things that we've done in the United States to improve our environment, which China doesn't do. Boom. Okay, China, we're bringing those jobs back. You're going to have fewer jobs, less money to support your military, and we're going to have better paying jobs for our people. Those are two of the things working on right now.
Well, nobody ever talks about Social Security in the terms of job creation, but the more solvent Social Security is, the more likely someone can retire early. The more likely someone retires early, a job gets freed up for somebody else to be hired.
Well,
just, trickle down.
That's true. Let me also mention something on social. The repeal of what is called the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset was coming to the Senate this past Congress. And it was going to die in the Senate. And I and another senator got up and we just went after it because that benefits people here in Louisiana. The President Trump, who was then candidate Trump, President-elect Trump, sent out a tweet, support this bill. And then all my other senators came on board. We repealed weapon GPO. Why does that matter? I think $700 million have come, or is it $600 million? It's either $600 or $700 million has come to like our state since we repealed that bill.
Yeah.
Now, if all of a sudden a senior has a little extra money, she's buying a little bit more at the grocery store. The grocer's a little bit more busier. He's hiring another person. You put that much money into our economy, you do create jobs. Maybe someone can afford a new car. Maybe they can afford to go to the Dillard's to buy some clothes. All that to say is that if the people get the benefits that they deserved and they have been denied, and now they get a little influx of cash, that's creating jobs in our state.
We are talking with Senator Bill Cassidy, and I remember that one vividly because on the House side, that was great, Congressman Graves, and then you picked it up on the Senate side and just it was like watching Detroit's running backs last night. Y'all had the 1-2 punch on it.
Yeah, and Garrett did a good job setting it up. But I remember one of my fellow senators walked into our lunch. He goes, "We can stop this." I'm thinking, what the heck? We're going to stop this? Why do we want to stop it? And I explained it. Again, working with the president sent out a tweet. Boom, the guy that wanted to stop it ended up voting for it.
Why would you want to stop it when it benefits people who have dedicated their lives to public service to begin with? I mean, that got overlooked in the equation very quickly. Is you're talking about people who put on uniforms and protect us.
So the reason they wanted to stop it is they said, well, Social Security is going insolvent, and so we shouldn't be paying out this money. And my point was, you don't balance Social Security on the backs of those people who actually paid into it and deserve a benefit. If you want to balance social, I got a plan for you that doesn't cut benefits, that doesn't raise taxes, and by the way, actually increases benefits for some. And so if you want to fix social, I got a plan for you, but don't balance it on the back of my people in Louisiana.
I'm looking at the clock. We have 2 minutes left with Senator Bill Cassidy. Can I keep you an extra 2 minutes on top of that? Because I got 3 more things here, and we're going to squeeze them in 4 minutes. JP, we're running 2 minutes long. All right. I want to get to every time I have you on, I want to get around to mental health and opioid crisis. You've been doing some work on that front with the Support Act, and I don't think it's got enough press.
Yeah, so again, everybody listening knows of somebody who's got mental health issues or who's got a problem with addiction. So the Support Act is something which the president signed into law, which will increase federal resources for state and local programs to help those people who have addiction or mental health issues. Now, mental health has been an issue that I've focused on since I got to the Senate, and this is the latest example of it. But we call it the Support Act. Pushed by Republicans, Democrats supported too. And again, resources coming to state and local government to provide help for those who are addicted or for those who have mental health issues or those who are co-diagnosed. And that's the goal.
The reason I think it doesn't get enough press is because, like, when you talk about your Halt Fentanyl Act, that's affecting the supply side. That's hopefully shutting down dealers. But when you have this overall equation, you have to reduce both supply and demand. This can help on reducing the demand end.
Absolutely. And by the way, you're right. There's the carrot and the stick. And the Halt Fentanyl Act is the stick. We're going after the people pushing the drug. But the carrot is if you have a problem with addiction, then you can get treated and come out of that addiction. I worked as a doctor at Earl K. Long Hospital for 20 years, and I had the privilege of seeing people who were addicted, who came out of addiction, and then entered life and are functioning fully in society with a spouse, with children, paying taxes, just doing really positive things. People can come out of addiction. That's what the Support Act wants to support. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you have an issue with addiction, there are resources for you.
Last one before we get you out of here. Let's talk a little bit about radioactive shrimp. I feel like, so on the one hand, nobody wants like radioactive isotopes in your shrimp. On the other hand, this could be the origin story for a superhero. We don't know yet.
So all chuckling aside,
Yeah.
So India has been dumping shrimp into the United States. Our shrimpers have been punished, really punished. And so in terms of they are subsidizing the shrimp coming out of India, which of course means that they can undersell our folks who then go out of business. Now that's wrong, but also the shrimp coming can be contaminated with E. coli or with antibiotics or with radioactivity. And so it's not just from India, it's from other places too. The FDA, I've been pushing them for a long time to do more sampling to find this stuff. Well, lo and behold, they find some of it's radioactive. Right. Now, what I'm told is that people just hear shrimp radioactivity right now, not understanding that Louisiana shrimp is safe to eat. So if it's branded Louisiana shrimp, it's safe. You can eat it, boil it, fry it, étouffee it, enjoy it.
Not to mention, you're supporting your local economy as well. I mean,
Absolutely.
Your neighbor's mortgage is paid that way. He is Senator Bill Cassidy. I know it's busy time. I appreciate a couple minutes in studio this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Local news, traffic, weather. We're talking true crime podcasting next.
Thank you, my friend.
Guys, I'm going to have to disappear in just a minute because we have a pre-recorded interview. You found Anna Sigga? Okay. I got to tell you, he's dialed in. He's, there's times where he's kind of the absent-minded professor. And look, I've known him long enough that I could say that. It's not the worst thing I've said about him to his face. But he's dialed in. Yeah. It's a different Bill Cassidy right now. This is going to be a hell of a race. This is going to be a friggin' fight.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, I keep having her on because she keeps putting out phenomenal content. Law and Order, Criminal Justice System, Season 2 is out. Anna Sigga Niccolazzi is the host of the podcast. She joins us now. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well, Brian. How about you? Thank you for that great intro. You gave me a big smile to start.
Well, it's like you're your fourth or fifth time on the show because every time you come out with something new, I'm fascinated. Like last season was all about the mafia. Well, pretty much all about the mafia. This season, you've pivoted over to more of a terrorism level. So, yeah, let's dig in. It's fascinating stuff. Tell me all about it.
So each season we're looking at a different part of the criminal justice system, but with the people actually involved. Law and Order is known for the dramatic take on these cases. Well, we still have the same format, the same drama, but it's with the people actually involved, the prosecutors, the law enforcement, the people, civilians impacted by these crimes. And so, it's like when you start with the mafia, where do you have to go from there? And we kept talking about terrorism last season because I think, unfortunately, too often we're hearing about different attacks happening and, where did this come from? How did this evolve? How did it get to where it was today? And that's how we landed on this. And, everyone knows 9/11. Everyone knows the cases that you hear about that unfortunately have happened more recently. But it really started happening here where people started to be targeting back in the 1970s. And it was just fascinating. We started to look at some of the cases, and that's where we start the season. And we take you through really the evolution by looking at some specific cases of where we got to where we are today, and always with that question, what do you do about it? Which I really think that by understanding, we have the best chance of hopefully stopping what we see as an increasing threat to us all.
We're going to get to some of the individual stories in just a minute, but I kind of want to walk down the path of your background one more time because you in the broadcasting world, whether it be your work on television or your work in the podcasting world, all of this stems from your work in the Brooklyn DA's office originally. Like, you brought that to life. You were able to make a complete transfer of your skill set.
I feel so fortunate every day that I got this new lease on a second career, but that still involves the thing that I love the most career-wise, which is always my work as a prosecutor. I was a homicide prosecutor for 16 of my 21, but just got very mentally tired from all you have to give to every one of those cases for both sides. The stakes are just too high to not put your all into it, but there was never anything else I wanted to do. So for being given this opportunity to now talk about those same cases to people and them to keep having me back, or now, my all-time favorite show, quite honestly, was Law and Order. So to be partnered with them for this podcast and with iHeart is pretty amazing, to reinvent myself career-wise, but in a world that I care so much about.
Okay, I know neither one's going to match up here, but what's closer to reality, Law and Order or Blue Bloods?
That's a tough question. They both are. There's the grit of True Bloods, right, which is real, I think very real, but what you see between law enforcement and prosecutors day to day and the evolution of those relationships in the cases, I'm going to go with Law and Order.
Okay, well, I'm going to continue to envision you more as Aaron Reagan than Sam Waterston, so we'll stay down that path.
Thank you very much. Now I'll come back again. Thank you.
We got some stories to tell about this season. Tell me a little bit about, we're going to get to episode 3 specifically, but tell me a little bit about the individual stories within this terrorism world that you decided to tackle.
So, some of them people know about. We talk about Oklahoma City with Timothy McVeigh, but a very personal perspective with one of the survivors, Amy Downs. It's incredible to hear her story. You will cry and laugh and cheer for her by the end. Quite honestly, I pretty much guarantee that. Listen to it and tell me if you agree. But we also go back. There's a story that we featured a Denver radio host, Alan Berg, who was murdered in Denver. And while it was an obvious murder case, it ignited what became an investigation into a terrorist organization known as the Order. And they were using that murder as they thought might be the first domino to ultimately bring down the U.S. government. And had that not come to life, who knows what would have happened to so many more people. So it's some pretty incredible cases that we're looking at and getting the inside track from the people that actually worked them.
Do you mind if we stick with that episode a little bit? Obviously, me being in talk radio,
Sure.
There's been 2 movies made about that the Alan Berg assassination. Walk me through a little bit about that episode specifically of what you learned, what you were able to discover, and how you were able to convey it to your audience.
So both these episodes are out now. So please, you can go and get both of them now on iHeart, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. But Alan Berg was a Denver radio host, and some loved him, some listened, some loved him, some hated, but many listened. And some call him the original shock jock. And he spoke his mind. And he was murdered in his driveway one evening as he was coming home. And people said, well, is it because he offended so many people? Is it the different confrontations he had? Well, it was yes, but also no, because the people that decided to come against him were extremists in the area. I believe they originated out of Idaho, and it was a group called the Order. And they had racist views against so many different people from so many different backgrounds, whether it be by skin color, nationality, religion, and they really decided that it was their mission to bring those people down by murdering them. And so they murdered Alan Berg, but it was really the discovery of who committed that crime that opened up investigators' eyes to this underground cell, if you will, that really had such other larger plans. And it's incredible to hear, how agents went undercover and went into these meetings in the backwoods on their own to hear people spewing hate, but also talking about ways that they plan to act. And it really is nail-biting stuff to just see the dedication of some of those that worked these cases, because they knew that if they didn't get enough evidence, if they didn't get to where they could make a case out of this, that there would be more lives in jeopardy.
We've got Sigga Niccolazzi on with us. She is the host of Law and Order: Criminal Justice System. Season 2 is out right now. Want to ask you a follow up on that. If not for his murder, does that terror cell just continue to go on like there? But for the grace of God, we found out about it because of his assassination. If he's not assassinated, then what?
So it's interesting because there was a single agent that was tracking them but wasn't allowed to do anything, but did not yet know what they were capable of, right? So it is just happenstance that when he heard about this murder and they started to put it together, it's like, well, wait a second. This also has to do with something else. Now, this group, they were funding their operation by doing large-scale bank robberies, armored truck robberies. And he really started to put the pieces together, and then really with very little help for a long time. So it's just wild, the ride that, he takes us on, to how he just had an inkling that there was a problem, and is it just talk? Because, again, there is the freedom of speech in this country. People can say what they want, but they can't incite violence or obviously commit it. To then have him, unspool the thread, if you will, and really figure this out. And they brought this organization down because, but for this, without putting it together, maybe many more lives could have been lost.
Let's spend a minute or two. We got a minute or two left. As we look forward with this series, I hate to ask it this way, but is there enough terrorism to cover an entire season?
I think that you could do a weekly all year round and have many, many seasons, unfortunately, right? Because terrorism it can be when there is one person killed or many. It is someone that is trying to use those acts to have people terrorized. And it's incredible whether it is the extremist large groups or the lone wolf or someone that's radicalized by the internet, the amount that goes on. And so much more beyond the attacks goes on that we never hear about because law enforcement stops it. We spend multiple episodes talking about some of those cases that you had never read about in the paper because fortunately nothing happened, but it's pretty incredible how law enforcement found out about them and put a stop before they did. So more than enough for a season. We really had a tough time picking and choosing, but we really think we give a pretty interesting backstory to what happened to get us where we are today.
Last one before I get you out of here, and I greatly appreciate your time this morning. And that is what you've done so far in season 2. What story should we be on the lookout for? What is your highlight?
All of them. But right now, this week on Thursday drops the first from the World Trade Center bombings. It's not the 9/11 case that everyone knows about because a group tried to bring the World Trade Center back down in 1993. So many people have never heard of it, and if they did, they certainly don't know the inside story of the person that referred to those buildings as his twins. He helped design them, build them, run them, and then bring them back to life after they were bombed. So it's a pretty incredible story, both for law enforcement's work, but then the resilience of the community around it to let terrorists know, we will not be stopped by your acts.
The insight is phenomenal. The storytelling's phenomenal. The production value is on point. It's Law & Order, Criminal Justice System, Season 2. She is the host, Sigga Niccolazzi. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Appreciate it, Brian. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
The last season on the Mafia, well, I'm a Mafia goober. I dial into Mafia stories like previous generations would dial into Westerns. But the last season on the Mafia was top-notch, and she always does a good job. Always appreciate Sigga Niccolazzi for stopping by. We have got Your Money Now coming up in just a little bit. After Your Money Now, we're going to close things out. Before that, though, I want to remind you about the folks over at Breck. Breck.org is the home base right there. Breck.org is the home base online. What do you get when you go to Breck, B-R-E-C, Breck.org? Well, you get access to basically everything they've got over at Breck, from the fantastic park facilities to the number of, let's say, adult leisure classes or adult sports leagues or youth sports leagues. Whatever it is you're into recreationally, Breck has something for you. I'm always amazed to find out new things. For example, I learned this one last fall. We have rugby here in Baton Rouge. I didn't even know we had rugby here in Baton Rouge. But Highland Road Park on a Saturday morning, back on that football field on the backside, it was a rugby field on Saturday mornings in the fall, to be sure. And they're actually, I don't know much about rugby, but I sat around to watch for a little while, and I was completely entertained. Awesome sport. And the point of this story is a number of members of a particular community were able to find like-minded members of that particular community and come together because, Breck Parks. So whatever it is you're into, you like Frisbee golf, you like pickleball, like everybody else does right now, or you're just into running, bird watching, leaf collecting, whatever. They've got you covered. Start it off at Breck.org. Chase your interest there, and they will point you in the right direction at Breck.org. All right, we're going to take one more break. We're going to check Your Money Now. When we come back, we will close it out next. We call it the outside in, but it's really going to be more about storms. So that's coming your way right here on Talk 107.3 FM. As you said, more. Yeah. Okay. Lies. If it weren't for you, is a lie. No, it's not. It's if there were someone else in that seat, the vote might be different. And the Senate is pretty much tied. There's a 1-seat margin right there. So, no, it's not. You tried to impeach President Trump. Now you want him to endorse you. Did you hear him ask for the president's endorsement? I did not. I did not. I may have missed it, but I did not hear him ask for the president's endorsement. I honestly don't think the president's endorsing anybody, because why would he? See, people think too much like politicos and not enough like mafiosos. That's been my takeaway. The
The roads haven't been worth shit ever since. It wasn't worth shit ever. So you must be putting that money in your pocket. Well, that shows a blatant misunderstanding of how things work. They don't just walk around grabbing money. That's that's not how that would work. He would have to create a corporation that builds roads, and then funnel the money to that corporation that he created to build roads, and then write checks out to that company for roads to be built. And that is all too big for that not to go noticed. So no, he hasn't done that either. Okay. Well, let's ask Joe this question. Curious, who are you voting for? Oh. You saw I've got an interview at 9:45. I'll come back downstairs for it. Yeah. Why does Bill Cassidy want another term? Do you know who this person is I'm interviewing at 9:45? Jeremy Swift. He's got a new movie. He's got a family Halloween movie coming out called Grow. Jeremy Swift, you might know him better as Higgins from Ted Lasso.
No way.
Yeah.
No freaking way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And it was, why does Bill Cassidy want re-election? Right?
Say again?
Why does Bill Cassidy want re-election?
That's not the way I said it. Shit, now I don't remember how I said it.
I'm sorry. It's because I got one ear.
Oh. I'll come up with a better one. Ooh. Did you do the read? Do it now.
All right, Rouse's wants to help you cover the spread this football season. We're talking the ultimate tailgate spread. Party trays, dips, fried chicken, anything you want to throw on the grill, plus plenty of ice cold drinks to wash it all down. All you have to do is register now at talk1073.com for your chance to win. One winner will be chosen each week, and everyone who registers will be entered into a drawing for a grand prize of postseason tickets. Rouse's Markets, your tailgating headquarters.
I'll see your promo and I'll raise your promo. Talk 107.3 is your new home for Ken Trahan's original Prep Football Report. Get live in-game updates, a full statewide scoreboard, and check-ins with correspondents from every corner of the state. Friday nights this fall from 6 to 11 p.m. It's Ken Trahan's original Prep Football Report, presented locally by Dr. Pepper and the Harold Perkins Jr. Tuition Program. We're supposed to be hitting up the outside in right now, but I want to pivot real quick. Give me one quick second. My apologies, y'all. I hate this computer. Okay, you know what? We are going to go. Let's go ahead and hit the outside in. For the outside in, we're taking you to the tropics because, well, technically South Florida. You heard the story from our news partners, the Louisiana Radio Network. We did a bit on it earlier in the show in the first hour, talking about the University of South Florida wanting to reimagine the way that we categorize hurricanes. There are two factors that need to be considered that aren't considered right now. As it stands right now, all they look at is wind speed, but they skip over a couple of other things that are very important and play an active role in every storm that rolls through.
Our scale actually takes into account storm surge and rainfall. And this makes sense because only 10% of fatalities come from wind alone.
That's Jennifer Collins, a professor of geosciences at South Florida, who says factoring in the rainfall and storm surge would allow forecasters to give a much more accurate threat level for each storm.
We can have a category for each of those: wind, storm surge, and rainfall, and then we have an overall category,
which could go all the way up to a 6, the way they're looking at it. If you have category 5 on the wind, or you're maxing out on 2 different categories, that's what would bump it up to where instead of it being a 1 to 5 scale, it would be a 1 to 6 scale.
You've got at least 2 of the hazard-based categories are a Cat 5, or 2 of the categories are a Cat 4, and 1 is a Cat 5.
Jeremy sent in a message earlier saying, what's the difference? Total annihilation is total annihilation. Do you really care if it was a Cat 5 or a Cat 6 that wiped out your house? At that point, what are we doing? All right, Moon's next. We'll see you tomorrow. Guys, I got to get out of here. I got to be back down for an interview at 9:45. I'll see y'all later.